Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new NoDQ review, number 249. Is that correct, Aaron? Number 249. We are one away from 250. I am Virtue, the moderator, being joined by this week's elite panel of NoDQ review team. Of course, Aaron Rift is here. Big G, happy to be here, allegedly, these days. This guy Experience is back. And Robbie Weiss is back in the house. What's up, gentlemen? Robbie, I'll start with you. It's been a few. What's up?
I took a staycation this week and did absolutely nothing. I kept telling myself that I would put together my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 machine, which is still back there in the box. It's been there since last October, hoping to get it done within 1 year. I just kind of gave up on it. Did a bunch of reorganizing the house, and my wife planned fun activities every day, so I did not relax at all, but happy to go back to work tomorrow.
Nice. Did you watch much wrestling?
I watched SummerSlam. I thought that was exciting. I usually watch Dynamite. It usually takes me about 15 minutes to watch Dynamite because I usually skip over some of the stuff. Like I don't really care about the match quality. I just want to see like the story and like the stuff progressing with that. And I watch Raw in about an hour, and SmackDown I usually watch all the way through still.
How are there people out there that watch every wrestling product, every show? Because there are. Man, I don't know how they do it. I don't even think Aaron Rift can do it.
No. I mean, it's a lot, and that's Aaron's career, so that tells you a lot. I mean, there's just so much wrestling on TV. I don't have 15 to 20 hours. Like, I know some of these guys on NoDQ, some of the people that provide content, they watch every episode, plus New Japan, plus the Ring of Honor, and then independent stuff. Those are the super fans.
Noah Foster.
They're on a different level. Yeah, no, like those guys are on a different level than I am when it comes to that type of commitment, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can barely keep up with WWE. Like,
hold on a second. What the hell does that even mean? What is that comment that just popped up on my screen? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I need a clarification.
Okay, so on AEW Collision, after the show went off the air, CM Punk ripped into Hangman Adam Page, basically just saying whatever he feels like. And he said that Adam Page is a peg warmer because his action figures don't sell. They're just sitting on the shelves while he's moving merchandise and moving numbers. Basically, that's what the situation is.
Yeah, I'm a peg warmer. Yeah, I probably, out of all the NoDQ personalities not named Aaron Rift, I bet you my shirts sell the best.
You also have the most shirts, to be fair.
No, Meacham. Doesn't Meacham have like Meacham Slam, Meacham Mania? Yeah. Anyway, this guy Experience. All right, we got to keep it like short to the point.
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, well, nice to be back on. I'm looking forward to a good episode and finally working with Robbie Weiss. Been wanting to work with him for a while. So ready for this show.
And we're going to have some topics to talk about, so stay tuned. We'll be back at you soon. All right, Big G. He took some time away from watching Jeff Jarrett on YouTube, and he is here doing the review. What's up?
Doing pretty good. Had a picnic today. Threw some cornhole. Other than that, watched wrestling, watched SummerSlam, and let's get this ball rolling, baby.
Get this ball rolling. Okay, over to Aaron. We got to go through him before we can get the ball rolling.
I'm doing well. Looking forward to tonight's NoDQ review. One away from 250. At 250, as you guys know, every 50 episodes, we have to go really big. We'll go into more detail about that at the end of this live stream. So stay tuned if you want to know what's up for episode 250. And great to have Big G back. I like your William Shatner t-shirt you got on. And welcome back, Robbie. And this guy Experience, always a pleasure to have you on. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Robbie, your thoughts on Marvel versus Capcom Infinite?
So, no, I don't like Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. I didn't like the way that it panned out. And honestly, I like Marvel versus Capcom 1. I like Marvel versus Capcom 2. And I'm a really salty, sore loser. And one of my good friends, when we got Marvel versus Capcom 3, beat me so bad so many times. He was my roommate at the time that I just never played it again. So I didn't like Infinite because it was similar. I'm a huge sore loser. Yeah, you beat me enough when I first start a game, and I'm just not going to play it with you. So
right. So now we get to the wrestling talk. At Big G, I'm really excited for Wednesday's Dynamite because Jeff Jarrett is in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre match against Jeff Hardy. Like, Dude, horror and Jeff Jarrett. Like, that is a dream come true. If you love horror, you love wrestling, that's about as big of a dream match as you can get.
Good times. Are we ready to kick it off?
Yeah, LA
All right.
Knight, yeah.
We can talk about LA Knight because he might be in this discussion. It depends where you want to go with this. But Robbie Vice, I will start with you. Topic number 1, Rey Mysterio, the legendary Hall of Fame Rey Mysterio is going to have another title run as he is the new United States champion, and he won it in, where did he win it at? In Canada? Where were they?
Canada.
Calgary.
This is so WWE, and he beat Austin Theory. Vince is out injured with his spinal surgery and all the subpoenas and all that going on, and his boy is faltering again. Robbie, what does this mean here? I want to focus solely on like the U.S. title here, Ray. Obviously, we're talking mid-card. And then Gunther is the Intercontinental Champion on a lengthy run for that title. We know we have the 2 main titles, right? Let's talk about these 2 mid-card titles. And can anybody in this realm eventually be elevated? Because that's how it used to be. Right.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it went a proper protocol. And even if they didn't quite get there, Mr. Perfect, he was still up there in that hunt. And you can consider him a heel main eventer.
For sure.
Have at it right here, man. We can talk about both sides. We got a U.S. champion. We got an Intercontinental champion. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because Ray just won a title late in his career. And that made me think about Gunther dominating, kind of being newer in the upper mid-card, maybe main event scene. Thoughts here, Robbie?
God, I don't care about Rey Mysterio. I'm going to be really honest with you there. I think, I respect everything he's done. He's a legend. He's overcome so many things. He's had, for what he does and the crazy risks he takes, he's had such a long career, and you cannot take that away from him. But at this point, like, I don't care. I understand he's champion because he is a legend, and now he can eventually, some heel can chase him, and maybe it ends up being Dom somehow at some point, whatever. But I really don't care about him. I just think it's boring. I think Ray is boring at this point. He's old, and I don't care. Gunther, I'll talk about all day. I think Gunther is the brightest star in wrestling right now. I think he has potential to really bring a legitimacy back that, you kind of saw even with like Lesnar. I look at Gunther and I believe him. I believe in that character. And to me, that's incredible. And I would like to see him go that route that we saw like Austin and The Rock and some of those big stars, at least from my childhood. Winning, the Intercontinental title, having those reigns, and then, losing it, but then immediately putting themselves in that title match. I would love to see him go after Seth Rollins after losing this title, and whoever he ends up putting over after he beats or sets his record to whatever they want. I mean, that's going to be a huge rub for an up and comer. I would love to see Braun Breaker come up and eventually dethrone Gunther and have another young guy that you can really get going. And then Gunther goes after Seth Rollins. I think that would just be an awesome, really fun card. So yeah, and to make a long story short, I don't care at all about whatever they're doing with Rey Mysterio, and I have the highest hopes for what they're going to do with Gunther.
Hey, Robbie, do you think LA Knight gets into this equation? I obviously, it seems like they want to push him, right?
Yeah.
But maybe instead of pushing him to a main event scene, I mean, with Roman having the title and the whole Bloodline thing, and then you got Raw. Well, what show was LA Knight officially on there in SmackDown?
Yeah,
I think he's on both, isn't he? Like,
it's weird because he's a babyface, obviously, right, and Ray's a babyface. But do you see LA Knight in this mid-card run to maybe help establish him to that next? I mean, Austin went through it. Rock went through it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, now it's been a long time, but how long was DDP a United States champion before he got his WCW title shot?
He was at U.S. champion level for quite a while.
Because just, I don't want to compare wrestlers and careers and things like that. But if you look at the age, you look at the natural kind of fan backing, that connection with the crowd, never really getting there. I just think him and DDP have such a similar path and trajectory, and it just reminds me a lot of him. So I was just curious about that. It just sucks because, you can make a lot of titles, you can make more belts. Someone's always going to get left out. I think there is something for LA Knight to be doing. I feel like they kind of dropped the chance that the briefcase should have gone to him. I think that would have been a much better story. But yeah, there's something for LA Knight. But the thing is what? Okay, are you gonna have him go against Rey Mysterio to win a title? Who cares, right? I don't think there's anything there. Yeah, now him going against Gunther, I think that would be cool. But I'd rather see that go to a younger guy. So I'm conflicted with that. Do you want to put him against Roman Reigns? I don't think he's that level. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's going to take on Roman. So I don't really know what you do with him. He is a DDP. He is on fire with the crowd. The iron is hot. I just don't know what they do with him. I don't have an answer for that.
All right, fair enough. Big G, I'm going to come over to you next. And Jeff Jarrett was a former Intercontinental Champion. Did he ever hold the U.S. title in WCW? I don't know. I know he had the WCW. Okay, so here you go. Your boy had both of these belts. You can really relate to this topic, Big G.
Oh my God! I'm never gonna hear the end of this with Jeff Jarrett. It's gonna go with me to my
that
grave.
Michael Myers shirt is actually Jeff Jarrett wearing the mask, by the way.
Oh my God! I'm about to burn this shirt now too.
You're gonna be buried in a Slapnuts
Big
t-shirt.
Big G, what we do here on the NoDQ review, this is a story thread, and you're part of it.
Oh, I know.
You're part of an ongoing episodic, even though you're not on all the time. Yes. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. So yeah, Rey Mysterio winning. I thought was kind of weird. I thought they were kind of pushing Santos Escobar. I would have rather had Santos win it because he's a younger guy, and he could use the title more than Rey Mysterio. Let's be honest. Gunther being, in his lengthy reign, I think he's got one more month till he passes Honky Tonk's record. I've liked Gunther ever since he came to NXT UK. I think he has that it factor. His promos are direct. He tells you what he does and he'll do it. His gimmick, I like it. Imperium, I like it. And I feel like after he passes Honky Tonk's record, I think Chad Gable should be the one to beat him. Like after Honky Tonk, after Gunther passes Honky Tonk's record, obviously, and then challenges Seth for the World Heavyweight title at Mania. Because I think Gunther is going to win the Rumble and go on to face Seth at WrestleMania 40. So.
And we're talking Gunther a lot here, Big G. And somebody earlier was talking about, when he moves up, that it's Seth Rollins. And it makes sense because they're on the same show.
Yeah.
But if this takes enough time, and we know there could be a roster shakeup in the meantime, and who knows how long this IC title reign will be.
Right.
If we see Cody finally finish a story and beat Roman and become that champion, I kind of want Gunther to be the guy that takes it off of Cody more than anybody else.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's me. That's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, they can feud for
WWE is smart never to put Gunther and Roman together because they're pretty well. Roman is still undefeated in singles competition, and so is Gunther. So they would have kind of backed themselves into a corner,
So this is an idea, just a thought, but we'll see what they do. Plenty of time left. All right, this guy experience. Now the floor is yours. We're talking about the U.S. title, Rey just winning it, and of course, whatever you have to say about the Intercontinental Champion.
Well, first I will just give credit to Aaron because this part I'm kind of stealing from him. He said this I think last week with his SmackDown review. When it comes to the LWO, that's the main thing. Basically cradle this whole rant about, not rant, but anyway. So it's smart to give it to Rey because you have the younger talent in LWO. I can't think today. With Rey, he's the senior. He's the Ric Flair / Triple H, whatever, of the group. So it's to get him. He can build the title up. He already has a storied career with the U.S. title anyway. So him and be like this version of Chris Jericho. And then on top of that, you have Escobar. They already had this friendship and storyline going on with it. Obviously, Theory is the odd man out, whatever. But you have that there. So you have some weeks, if not months, of storytelling right there to tell because you have the senior member of this group get the title and you can like slowly show Escobar kind of resenting Ray getting it, because I mean, what was the storyline? Like he got injured slightly, so he had to give up his chance to go against Austin Theory for it, and you can just slowly say like, man, I wish I didn't get injured. I really want that title shot, and obviously Escobar is a younger talent, and he needs that title to go to the next level. Now, I don't know if he's going to get to the main level in his career. We don't know, but getting the U.S. title is a big deal in the first place. For Gunther, and going back to Robbie, I don't think Ray's boring. Like he doesn't. I always use Jeff Hardy when it comes to sports and entertainment. Both of them are high flying. Both of them are really, really likable guy. I personally don't really like Jeff Hardy, but Ray still has like the charisma and somewhat of a storytelling ability in the ring. Jeff Hardy is just a glorified stuntman. I'm sorry, I don't need to shoot fire at Jeff Hardy because he's not even involved in the situation. But I'm just gonna use that. On top of that, compared to older, now obviously Ray is younger than Jeff Hardy. And I was going to say RVD2. I was watching some clips on AEW, which again we're going to talk about that later. But RVD is not in where he was like 20 plus years ago, whatever. Where Mysterio is still performing at a pretty high level. Not obviously 18-year-old Ray, 22-year-old Ray, WCW Ray Mysterio, but he's still performing at a pretty high level, especially for somebody his age. Especially all those knee injuries too. Gunther, solid performer. I finally figured like this last year, I finally figured out why everybody loves this man. Fantastic in the ring, pretty good storyline. He could have a little bit more personality change, whatever, but for the most part, he's just the silent boss that just does what he says. Like he says he's going to punch your face in, he punches your face in. So he's going to defend that title for his crew. My only issue with Gunther in WWE is they're basically. I always say when you have a solid faction, make sure every person in that faction has something to do. And since since Imperium is not a huge like faction like LWO or even a classic one or NWO, you have 3 members. You can easily get the other 2 guys the tag titles for now. But I mean, unfortunately, you united it, and now KO and Sammy holds it, and I think KO is injured, so. Like it basically is out of play for now. So having the whole team be mid card champions for a while is great, but you can't do that right now. So I think eventually once he break Honky, you need to have either Roman or Seth getting ready to lose those belts. Like have a solid plan so you can have Gunther be the flag bearer for whatever roster he's on. And I believe it should be Roman Reigns because that would definitely elevate him. And Gunther is young enough to carry on. Not too, but be able to carry that on for a while. And then whoever comes to beat Gunther after that, or the people to come beat Gunther after that, they'll be even more elevated. The guy who beat the guy of this generation is going to be a made man forever. And
could be Brock Lesnar too. Still could be Brock. Look, the writings on the I don't know why no one's mentioned this because WWE they're doing it with the Bloodline, and give it time, they're going to do it with Imperium. Ludwig Kaiser, or whatever his name is going to be that guy, that Jey Uso, and he is going to eventually challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Mark my words. I think that's what they're doing there because they see how well that worked for the Bloodline. Let's do something similar but different over on Raw. I don't know. You good there, this guy experience?
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron, over to you with the Super Chats, this topic, and then we can move on to AEW.
All right. First of all, shout out to John James Lincoln, longtime viewer, first time joining live. Much appreciation to you. We do have some Super Chats here, so let's get to those. First off, Psycho Jet Black. Earlier on, we were talking about horror. The real horror is a Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey promo. Thankfully, we won't likely have to deal with a promo for that match because Ronda's gone, and who knows if Nia's even coming back. I mean, I think she will be back. It's just a matter of when. She seems to be getting in the best shape of her career, which leads me to believe she's making a comeback. TJS sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Tyler. He says, hear me out. Gunther relinquishes the Intercontinental Championship to challenge for and beat Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. Option C. but no one else beats Gunther. Thoughts? Okay, I'll
He's
start.
not going to. Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
I'll start. No, because somebody can be elevated from beating Gunther, and Gunther will be just fine taking 1L. Losing the
I
title.
think also giving up the belt makes him look like an idiot because there's precedent to have more than one title.
And he doesn't have to give up the belt. They'll do the Ultimate Warrior, thing, and then if you win the next level belt, then they can put it up for a tournament. Like or he could lose that title still after the
I think he needs to lose. I think he needs to put I don't know, Braun Breaker. Someone, I don't know, like Braun Breaker would be good, I think.
I agree. I agree with Robbie. Like I even like Braun Breaker as the option to beat Gunther. LA Knight, as he mentioned, like you could go in that direction, but I think LA Knight is best off not going for a title right now. Let him feud with The Miz. Like they got something going there. But I don't know if he's going to be on Raw or SmackDown. I'd rather see somebody like Braun Breaker be called up and be the one to beat Gunther. And that instantly makes Braun Breaker a huge deal on the main roster to beat Gunther and end his run. And I think it's believable too. I don't think it's going to be Chad Gable. As much as people are on the Gable train right now, don't see that happening. I think he's losing at Payback.
When you're rising up the card, you don't have to take a loss. Don't take a loss. Just because a fan thinks it's right because it's elevating, don't. Think about a title for a title match and the winner wins both titles. I would rather see that than Gunther dropping it to somebody. Not that anything would be wrong with that, because that's often what they do. But I don't know. I'm just about that big picture. And if you get Gunther to the main event, still not, still undefeated since he's been the IC champ, dude, I'm telling you, that to me holds way more water, but we'll see.
Yeah. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, if Vince was in charge, Baron Corbin would beat Gunther. I mean, I know he likes to make the jokes, but I realistically don't think that would happen. Like, I don't think they would have Corbin beat Gunther. But the question is, if Vince was fully in charge, would Gunther have gone this far as IC champion? I think that's the bigger question. And who knows? I mean, Gunther was getting pushed before Vince stepped away. I mean, he got the IC title and he was being booked pretty strongly while Vince was still around. So it's hard to say, but I don't think he would have put Corbin in that role for sure. Go ahead.
I think Gunther gave Vince that like old school mentality.
Yeah, definitely. Gunther feels like a throwback to that era of just a dominant champion, kind of like a Yokozuna, where he's not the most charismatic guy, but I don't think he needs to be. He goes out there and he just beats people up. That's his deal. He's no nonsense kind of guy, and I think they've done a great job with him. Rage of Wrestling sent in a $10 super chat. That's Walter Cruz, by the way. Says, I think LWO will turn on Ray eventually, saying Ray is selfish and stole Escobar's spotlight. Carlito returns to help Ray, and then Gunther should lose the Intercontinental title and jump straight into the main event scene. I think both of those scenarios are very likely. I think that LWO is probably going heel, and that's what this is all leading to. Santos is going to go heel and feud with Rey Mysterio. So I don't see LA Knight getting involved in that. And like I said, with Gunther, I could see him losing to like a Braun Breaker. And then I think he's going to probably face Seth Rollins for the world title. I don't know if it's going to be WrestleMania, but Brock Lesnar, where do you go with Brock Lesnar now? People have been wanting to see it. Brock Lesnar versus Gunther, but I don't see that being for the Intercontinental title unless Brock wants to win that title and hold it hostage. I don't think so. I think Gunther is probably going to lose the title relatively shortly after he beats Honky Tonk Man's record. And then maybe you could do Gunther and Rollins heading into the Royal Rumble, and maybe Gunther wins the world title from Rollins. Rollins holds it to like the Royal Rumble or something, and then it's Brock Lesnar versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. I think. Well,
let me ask you this: what is more exciting to you? Would it be Cody winning the title? If it's not going to be Roman, is Cody beating Seth Rollins, Or would Cody eventually dethroning Gunther at some point as world champion be more entertaining? And that's a legitimate question. Because I don't know if the Seth Rollins thing does it for me at all. It doesn't feel special if he beats Seth Rollins.
I think Cody is probably gonna face Roman Reigns, but if it was him going for the world heavyweight title, I think Gunther would be a more interesting match just because Cody's already beaten Rollins 3 times, and I'm not sure how I feel.
Gunther is such a theatric show, though. I think Cody would just have a field day with it. You know what I mean? All the theatrics of the Imperium and Gunther and Cody and the just the style of it, I think would be more interesting to me than what Rollins would bring. I don't know.
Yeah, fair point. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, here's an idea. Have someone win both the US and IC titles, becoming a double champion, showing up on all the shows, defending both of them. Has that ever happened before? I don't think it has.
There should just be one mid-card title, one world title, and then something else. And they should just go on both shows. And then you could have number one contender matches on whatever show doesn't have a belt that week, story building, I don't know, whatever.
I agree with you. I've been saying this for the longest time. I think they have too many titles, and I would be fine with that, having one champion that appears on both shows. And that way, there's more of an incentive to win the title because not only do you have the title, but you get to be on both shows, and it makes sense.
Kayfabe, they make more money, so then they would be invested in it. It would actually make sense.
Yeah, because they always talk about the winners' purses, and you win matches, you get more money, you get more perks, and same thing. You have the title, you get to be on both shows, you get more TV exposure. Just makes sense to me, but they don't really play up on that. They just
and in theory, they
randomly have guys showing up.
Merch wise, I mean, in theory, if they get more exposure, they're going to sell more shirts. In theory.
Right, exactly. So we're caught up on the super chats, and I think I said my piece on the future directions of the IC and US titles. So I guess now we got to talk about everybody's favorite promotion, AEW.
And sometimes it's like, what do we talk about? Do we talk about like Punk cutting that promo on Adam Page after the show was off the air? So I did a very general. I basically picked the most general type of AEW topic, and then each panelists can make it their own. So, Big G, I'm going to start with you because Jeff Jarrett's in AEW. Yes. You like CM Punk, so AEW is your main promotion, even though you kind of turn your back on Shayna Baszler there. But anyway, oh yeah, Britt Baker's over in your favorite promotion too. But what's your current favorite thing in AEW and your favorite show?
Besides,
I know you're not going to say. Yeah, besides Jeff Jarrett, and I know you're not going to say Rampage. No. Spoiler alert. Maybe you will. No. Go ahead, Big G.
I mean, I'm enjoying this whole MJF and Adam Cole thing and Roderick Strong thing, Roderick Strong being like the jealous ex-girlfriend. I mean, so I've pretty much been to every single show in AEW, and I don't know. I prefer Dynamite still. I mean, Collision is on Saturday nights, and it doesn't do it for me on a Saturday night. I find it really weird. I mean, I like Collision. It's got its own. What's the word?
So wait,
that was an Undertaker impersonation.
Now, Robbie,
did you guys see that? That was great.
When
he rolled his eyes in the back of his head.
I want to hear about the Texas candidate. That's gonna be so freaking weird. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match on Dynamite. Is Leatherface gonna show up? It's gonna be so weird.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
But you know what? I'm gonna go with Dynamite being my favorite show out of AEW. Like I said, Collision on Saturday is still kind of weird for me because we haven't watched wrestling on Saturday in like a long time, and people usually do stuff on Saturday nights. I'm usually at work on Saturday night, so I watch Collision when I get home the next day. So yeah, and like I said, Adam Cole and the MJF storyline is like my favorite thing in AEW right now.
Nice.
Besides Britt Baker.
Yeah, I don't even. Besides who?
Besides Britt Baker.
Yeah, and she's kind of like, I mean, we know her and Adam Cole. They're a thing. All right, this guy experience. Your turn here. Favorite topic, AEW.
This one's going to be pretty short. Unfortunately, I'm able to go with did. I watch some of the clips when I can, and I watch the reviews of Aaron post, or actually live, when it's an interesting episode that I see on the thumbnail. I watched a few clips. I would say it's interesting, just like Big G said, the MJF and how can I speak today? MJF storyline. It's pretty interesting. Obviously, they played it better than WWE because you know that Adam Cole would have probably MJF would have probably hit him in the back of the head, but they still have like a whole month to go to their match, so probably wouldn't happen, or we probably are like a couple weeks out from that actually happening. But I like watching the clip. I'm like, is he gonna hit him in the head when he turns around? And that didn't happen. I was shocked. I mean, like I said before, RVD, it's interesting that he's coming back. And the production, like it pretty much. I like the Jericho Society. Very, very tragic ending to his squad. I mean, I'm gonna keep up with it as much as I can, but that's what I'm interested in. Like,
all right,
you're gonna turn back on a legend.
So, what's your favorite show? You just YouTube clips, Twitter clips, or X?
Yeah, just clips. Nah, just well, yeah. Formerly Twitter. I do catch the clips more so on X now. I sometimes watch the YouTube clips, but it's more so on X. So, but yeah,
so
I mean,
for me, it's easy. It's Collision because that's where CM Punk is, and CM Punk's the best thing in AEW to me. What he's doing with the title, I want to see CM Punk and MJF for the true champion. I want to see CM Punk versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Throw FTR in there. That to me, outside of that, there's nothing I care. I think Cole and MJF is horrible. I hate it. I would rather. That's the one time I would have rather just had Tony Khan book the feud, book the match. I don't know. Dude, if this ends up exactly like we think it's gonna, it's a shit. It's two indie darlings.
What's your problem with it? You think that it's too over the top? Like it's not realistic enough? Is it not funny? Do you think it's not funny?
It pulls MJF down. It pulls him down when he's supposed to be that man of the company. When I think of CM Punk, I want to think MJF. Now I just don't buy Adam Cole as this legit threat competitor. Vince McMahon was 100% right on this guy. He looks like a manager that can take bumps. And if you're going to wrestle with the guys your size. And dude, MJF isn't a big dude, but he puts in the work and he's ripped out. The best shape of his life since he's been champion. He takes it seriously. I just don't buy, like you put back in the NXT days, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, those matches made sense to me. I could buy into those, that brand, that style. You're putting Adam Cole right in that heavy. He's probably going to be the AEW world champion. Oh, I just don't buy it.
So you're just not an Adam Cole fan, basically.
But it's not fun. Like these segments suck to me.
So you don't think they're funny?
No. I mean, it actually, I feel like MJF is forcing himself through these. Like I said, it's bringing him down from my point of view, and that's why I don't like it. When I think MJF, dude, you got to have the best of the best. Like we're getting with Roman Reigns in WWE, and I just don't like all of a sudden let's feud him against Adam Cole and put them together like a buddy system. But you know they're going to end up feuding together. I'm not buying it, dude. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise.
No, I mean, it is what it is.
And I will give the benefit of the doubt, and they're trying to make MJF's trying to make the best of it, right? And he might be happy. To me, this is a funny feud for Dave Meltzer and his fan base, for Nick Houseman and his fan base.
So you think they get entertainment out of a little girl getting hit with a dodgeball?
Probably.
And you don't find that funny. You think wrestling's got to be serious 100% of the time. The world champion
isn't that sports entertainment though?
When you're MJF, you bring yourself down to stupid comedy, dude. When he did that stuff,
the guy is showing he can be multi-layered. He can do different styles. He doesn't do one thing. He keeps it interesting. He's changing. Well,
when
things
he
up.
was mid-card,
he's opening up instead of being like this. He's like this. He's opening up.
He did that. Things. He did that shit with Jericho. He did that shit,
and that was great. I remember we're talking about it 3 years later. Dude, I mean.
you're trying to defend AEW as being creative, and they got two short men being buddies, and one of them who I believed was actually a main eventer. You're pulling them right back down into
you
the
just complain. You
indie.
complain that guys are doing tons of high spots and it's just wrestling, and they expand their horizons and actually try to do something different. And you're
What are
still
they
complaining.
expanding?
You're
What
the
are they
definition
expanding?
of a mark.
What are
A
they
mark
expanding?
that just complains no matter what. You're never happy. You're never
David
satisfied.
Payne, hey, David Payne advocate. You had a guy on your website, okay, that did nasty things. Okay, so you are a mark as well. Okay, so.
Well, that was your decision to bring him on in the first place. So look who's
it wasn't,
talking.
Aaron. I
yeah,
did
it was.
columns.
You're the guy that runs the review. You're the one that decides who's on, who's not on. You're like, let's bring him on, and we brought him on.
It was
called my decision.
It was called the House of Pain, and I came on as a guest because of you. I never brought David Payne onto the show.
You wanted him on.
Look at me catching you again in a lie, because when live debate, your mind flutters and you don't know where you're going. But look, throw David Payne in that feud. That's what I think of MJF versus Adam Cole. And hey, maybe they'll end up not feuding. Maybe they'll just be buddies and partners, and Adam Cole can go for the Ring of Honor title. There you go. Okay, who wants to go next? Robbie Vice.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's funny you follow that, and I promise this is in my notes, but the best thing I think in AEW right now is the Adam Cole and MJF. And I'm going to say that because I think it shows an incredible range of MJF. And yes, if this was in like a different context of a different type of feud, or even in WWE, I don't know if it would work, but in this AEW universe, I think it works, and I think it works well. I think they have great chemistry. They play off each other. It's to me so far, I like it more than I liked the KO Jericho thing, which is essentially kind of what this is. It's a similar type of situation to that. And you know, we can talk about size, and I know like I've talked about Marco Stunt and things like that. I just don't know if you could put Adam Cole in that same sentiment, because saying that you don't think Adam Cole could stand toe to toe with someone like MJF, then you know, I would be curious what you would think of like Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, or Rey Mysterio versus, you know, the Giant in WCW, or Nash.
Shawn Michaels was jacked. Adam Cole looks like me.
In the context of how the size difference between MJF and then the Undertaker, in the context of it, it's within the same realm of possibility. So yeah, I would say just the range that MJF has shown, I think he's definitely carried it. I wasn't really sold on it immediately, but you know, as it's gone on, I thought I was entertained, and I didn't hate it. And while I think it could be a little predictable, we'll see. This is a chance for Tony to show me, is he a good booker? Can this actually have a fun ending, or is it just going to be what we expect? But regardless, just because of who's involved, I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, some of the worst wrestling probably in the last 10 years. But I mean, you know, people enjoying it.
Hey man, I'm not, you know, you may be a huge fan of work rate and things like that, but I'm more here for the entertainment in the story.
Well, and I don't like work rate, but like I want to see creative.
You just
stuff.
want to complain about everything.
But
you just don't like Tony Khan, so no matter what he does.
The only reason why Aaron likes it is because he needs AEW to do good, so people want to come to NoDQ and read about it. And anybody like Big G, obviously he's a mark because he went to some AEW shows, saw CM Punk. That's fine. Like, you guys are allowed to like it. I'm just telling you, it's the shits. And I think MJF is so much better than this thing that he's doing. And I would have rather.
There's nothing better for him to be doing right now.
Yes, CM Punk. The whole thing. Aaron was an advocate. Aaron was an advocate for it.
Yeah, but no one cares about
CM Punk returned. Now all of a sudden, the Adam Cole stuff's good. Oh, Aaron, come on.
But
what do you
has
say about that?
Done?
You said strike while the iron is hot. Punk should have came back and been right in a feud with MJF.
But he wasn't.
Especially for All In and All Out. Nope.
Yeah, he should be in a feud.
My expectations are that everybody else is settling for the bar to be down here at Adam Cole's size.
I mean, I guess, but I just, like I said, man, CM Punk has still really done nothing with any of it. They haven't capitalized on any of the stuff with the Elite. Like, that whole feud is past. No one cares about this, you know, his little pot shots after the show and stuff. Like, I just think it's cooled off. That's a show.
If you put it on TV, then Adam Cole. It's a mark. Adam Cole. That's the thing.
But
Adam
the thing
Cole,
is, it's not wrestling. It's just a bitter. It's just Phil Brooks being bitter and trying to be petty because he has a position of authority where he can do things like that because he knows he's near the end of his career. He's not the draw he used to be, and people just don't care about him like they used to. So I think that bothers Phil. So I think he goes out there and I think he talks shit and I think he does vents to make himself feel better. But at the end of the day, I don't think most of the casual fans care.
Why are you
about
calling him
that
Phil?
feud.
Are you Jeff Meacham now?
Because his name's Phil Brooks.
But like,
Because
that's weird. You
because
don't
it's not
know
a
him.
character, but it's not
That's
a character.
strange, though.
That's
Like,
not
you
a
don't
character
know him.
going out
So, like,
there.
I wouldn't call we call Vito
I
because we
mean,
know
yeah,
him.
you can attack the character when you have no argument to stand on. I mean, that's absolutely fine. You can create a straw man, or you can beg the
Well, I just
question, whatever
checkmated
fallacy
you
you want
guys.
to go after.
Yeah, I just checkmated you guys to have to start saying Phil and not liking his like
I mean,
personality
I wasn't
his real
listen,
life.
bro.
And
I
you don't
wasn't
know
the
the
one,
guy in real life.
but
and
I
you
wasn't the
don't
one
know.
screaming like a
Oh,
6-year-old
Phil is
either.
venting. You have no idea what exactly happened and
You're
what
really
he's playing
upset.
into.
Why don't you take a
Dude.
deep breath, buddy? This is what I tell
Well,
my
what-
nieces. You need to take a deep
Well,
breath.
why don't you, Robbie? Why
All
don't you take a deep breath? Because I am the master of the NoDQ review, and you
That's
have
fine.
proven to me that you can't even come close to being a moderator for this show because you
Oh my
lose
God.
track of what's really being discussed.
Yeah,
Dude,
we're
I'll tell
talking
you, if
about the
anybody
best
can
thing
get
about
somebody to click
AEW.
off a live show, it will be me. All right.
Okay.
Big G, did you speak on this yet? Or Robbie, were you done? I mean, I'll still let you go. Are you done? Do you have anything else to say? You want to badmouth
No, you're-
Phil a little bit more?
No, your tantrum.
I mean, because we all know your stances. When you personally don't like a wrestler, Matt Riddle, shit on. You know, for whatever reason, Gable Steveson, is he a rapist too? Don't like him. So we know you take these personal stances. Oh, Del Rio Ryback. Like, we get it. We get when you don't like the real person of what they've done, you're going to crap on them whether they're good or not.
On track with the topic. What does this have to do with AEW and what we're talking about?
It has everything
Maybe
to do
you
with what you
should
just said.
change out of your
You were
moderator
burying
shit,
CM
Bob.
Punk. Yeah, you have zero chance to be moderator. So
That's fine.
Wow.
yeah, zero
I'm
chance.
okay with
But
that.
you were up there. But all right, Big G, did you speak on this? I'm assuming you're done now, Robbie.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, this guy experience. Follow all of that if you can.
He already
think
did.
he gave us such.
Shoot. And that's
Yeah,
right.
I
You
thought,
didn't have
but
much to say. You didn't have much to say on that, did you? Did something
No, the
else
only thing-
formulate in your head while we were talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
wondering
it
what
was-
the hell he's
it's-
doing here.
No. It's more so like I do like the again. I don't watch it all the time enough, but it just reminds me the Adam Cole versus MJF. It just reminds me of like the Edge and RKO storyline when they were tag teams back in the day, and like you already know they both backstab whoever they're with, and you're like, who's gonna backstab who first? They're both up and coming, but obviously MJF is the face of the company currently. So I just like that aspect of it, and that's the reason why. That's the reason why it's so interesting because it reminds me of WWE now. That could be again. You're right about that again because I'm looking for something at a. I don't want to say superior company, but I'm going to just say superior.
It's
company.
a poor man's festival of friendship. That's what it is.
Let's go with that. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. So like KO and Jericho, Edge and RKO. Like it just reminds me of better storylines from WWE. And since they're doing such a good job, that's the reason why I told him my attention.
Now, Big G,
that's all
you can't fool me. I know you like Adam Cole because you like Britt Baker. So like,
I've liked Adam Cole since he debuted in NXT. But let me ask you this, Virtue. I'm gonna throw you over the edge here.
I mean, Virtue
Would
likes
you
Disco
rather
Inferno,
have
so I
fun?
don't know if his taste in wrestlers is all that good, man.
Well, look, okay, not every wrestler has to be big and bulky. Everybody,
to be a world champion though.
Rey
it's
Mysterio was
it's
world
it's
champion.
It's a different time. It's a different era. Anyways,
Ray
Virtue,
Mysterio's also
let me
still
ask you this,
bigger
Virtue.
than Adam
Let me
Cole.
ask you a serious question.
Well,
Would you
there's
rather have
reasons.
MJF being AEW and doing a little bit of comedy like he's doing with Adam Cole, or would you have him in WWE with the stupid ass name doing stupid ass shit where he'd be in catering every other week?
Back in NXT, he was fine in NXT. Right?
No, I'm talking about MJF. I'm talking about MJF.
Actually, I'd like to see MJF in WWE. To be honest with you, I want to see.
Okay.
I want to see him go
And
against
of
guys
course-
like Roman Reigns.
And of course, then he'll show up and do some comedy, and all of a sudden you'll find it very funny because it's not Tony Khan in charge. You have this vendetta
'Cause I don't
against
think
Tony
they'll have-
Khan. You just don't like him
I know, that's
because
great.
he's a
Well-
Dave Meltzer fan, and you're jealous that everybody likes Meltzer and listens to him.
Look,
and you're one of
it's
those
not-
guys
it's not
that just
like my
craps on
relationship-
Meltzer constantly.
It's not like my relationship with you and Noah Donish or you and Mike Nagel, okay? Because like I don't know these guys, those wrestlers. But if Adam Cole was MJF's manager in WWE, there you go. Now maybe I'm buying it because that's what I would want to see. All right, Aaron, go ahead. And we still have to talk about the Bloodline again. So go ahead, wrap this up. Don't know if any chats came in.
Yeah, we got quite a few. This guy experience is basically like, what did I get myself into tonight? I mean, of all the shows to jump in,
it's fine.
Yeah, all this chaos.
Dude, when I'm laid back, numbers struggle. Last week, we were hot off of SummerSlam, hot off the Bloodline. I think I snapped over something. I already forgot what it was. And we had the best review in a while. I'm just trying to carry the momentum, Aaron. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you, I suppose. Miguel sent in a $2 super chat. Says, if Brock feuds with Judgment Day, do you have him F5 Rhea Ripley? I would not mind them to feud. Maybe Damian Priest versus Brock Lesnar would be interesting. But, yeah, I mean, why not? Might as well. You guys have any objection to that?
Have Rhea beat up Brock Lesnar.
Well, I would say that's highly unlikely in all likelihood.
Have her Chuck Lesnar hit him in the back like really hard a couple of times and do where he just kind of turns around, freaks around, then F5s her, and then Dom can be scared somewhere and not help her because he's a coward.
All right, we got a $2 super chat from Walter Cruz. He says, my favorite part of AEW is 10 p.m. Eastern. Jeez. I mean, Walter really is kissing Virtue's ass here. I mean,
but I mean, I said I liked Collision and I like watching Collision.
I like Collision.
It's not like I've boycotted everything AEW.
The problem with Collision is that the time slot is not good when WWE is going up against it. I missed the Collision because of SummerSlam, and I don't know what happened on that show. I had to go back and watch it on DVR and try to catch up on it, but it can be easy to lose momentum if you're not watching the show every week. And then you got sports coming up. I'm not a sports guy, but I know most people are, and they're going to be focusing on that instead of AEW. So it's going to be tough. Collision just doesn't have the best time slot on that Saturday night. But I do think that they've been putting on good shows, and I've been enjoying CM Punk. But yeah, Virtue, I will agree with you. He needs to be feuding with the Elite or at least MJF. And this whole thing with Hangman Adam Page, like, what's going on here? Now people are talking about that. Like, he's feuding with Samoa Joe, right? But nobody's talking about that. Everyone's talking about the Elite and MJF too. Like, CM Punk's feuding with Samoa Joe, and it's just not what people want to see, even though they have their history.
I want to be fair with Adam Cole. Like, if he was feuding right now with Orange Cassidy, does Orange Cassidy still have that title, the North Atlantic or
North
boom?
Atlantic?
I would not even be bad. Like, okay, that's what you do. They're gonna have fun matches for those fans that like that stuff. Like, I'm not saying there's nothing to do, but like, boom, Adam Cole's main event material all of a sudden with MJF. And there's so many things ahead of that in my mind. It's just probably why I've kind of went on my tangent tonight.
Let me
my
ask you.
Expectations are high for MJ. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, this is the problem. Mr. Tito's complaining about Adam Cole being 180 pounds, but here's the thing: back in the 90s, everyone was complaining Hogan's stealing the spotlight and Kevin Nash is stealing the spotlight. But
not
then
everybody. Some people
with some of the smaller guys like Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit start getting pushed, you start complaining, oh, these guys, no, these guys are too small. They're not credible. Now, I get it. Benoit was ripped to shreds and Adam Cole is not. But, I mean, there's ways people get ripped to shreds, and I'd rather the guys look natural rather than do stuff that's going to make them
because they have steroid brain.
Well, I mean, that's one thing. So, yeah, I get it. You want to look the part. But at the end of the day, Mick Foley did not look like your typical wrestler. He was not in jacked up shape, and he was still a big star. Adam Cole, he's different. Not everybody has to look.
Piper
chiseled.
was never big
Mick had to stunt man himself out to become that star, though. But
That's
actually, you know what? I don't know. Like, Was that the reason? Like, obviously it helped, but he was really good with the character stuff.
I think
Like,
he decided if the character would do it, he was just willing to do anything he thought.
Yeah.
Like he was the most into that character. Like when he was ripping actual clumps of hair out as Mankind and stuff. Like that guy was insane.
By the
Real
way,
quick,
Rob,
though-
you do have a chance to be moderator. You know I was busting your balls, don't you?
I know. That's why I was mocking you. It's fine.
I had to you got to go all the way down here to in 3 weeks,
But-
Robbie Weiss is going to be guest moderator.
Right. I did have a question though about Walter Cruz. I did not know that he was Canadian. I just noticed the maple leaf in his little signature when he posts. So
Walter
cool,
Cruz is from Connecticut.
he has a maple leaf in his little avatar thing when he posts super chat.
All right,
pot
I don't
leaf
think that's
or a
a
maple?
I don't think that's a maple leaf.
That's a maple leaf, my friend. I
Okay.
know a maple leaf when I see one. He's a
I
hockey
think-
fan.
Well, I think I created that logo, so maybe I mixed up a maple leaf with whatever leaf that
Nice.
he likes. Ryan sent in a $1 super chat, no comment, or if he did leave a comment, it was somewhere else. But thank you, Ryan. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, who would be the heel to beat the babyface in tweener MJF? Well, I mentioned this, Virtue. I wanted to see CM Punk beat MJF and go full-blown heel and let that be the storyline. When MJF first won the title, I was saying Wardlow, and they haven't done jack shit with Wardlow. So other than CM Punk, I don't know who the best choice is. I mean, it could be Adam Cole. They're going to turn Adam Cole heel and form this Ring of Honor group with Mike Bennett. So Mike Bennett
cares
can
about
be
CM
the
Punk?
punching bag. And then they'll book MJF versus Mike Bennett as the main event of Dynamite, and MJF will beat him or whatever. That's how they typically book things.
Oh, the Kingdom. Yeah.
The only way that CM Punk would be interesting to me is if he came out and helped someone, beat MJF from the Elite to win the title and join the Elite and made some kind of crazy super group where he was like the Hogan, the third or fifth guy or whatever the hell it is. That would be interesting to me because I know they hate each other. And that was something that really kind of drew me into the Macho Man Hogan stuff back in the day, is knowing that they strongly disliked each other, especially in those WCW years. That made it kind of fun to watch.
Oh, we got an Elite fan, Dr. Thanos. CM Punk is mid AF. Elite fan alert.
Oh, geez. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, am I going to write a book of Rift like Hobbs? No, I have no intentions on writing any kind of a book. I mean, I'm definitely not Dave Meltzer in that regard. I have no interest in writing a book and signing autographs of the book for everybody. That's not my deal. Not interested, but thank you for that super chat. I do appreciate it. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, Virtue, are you a fan of Jackie Chan and Kung Fu?
Yeah, I prefer Bruce Lee, and so like Chuck Norris and that generation, but Jackie Chan's okay.
Jet Li Fearless is my favorite Kung Fu movie, at least like in the modern era.
So, if I don't know, like, is that a trick question? Is someone like, hey, if you like Jackie Chan, maybe you like Rush Hour?
So, no,
Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. That's what we're getting with Adam Cole and MJF.
Yeah, I think they're getting to that Jackie Chan is a smaller guy that because he's a kung fu master, which I guess
like
guys
Mr.
wise makes
Miyagi.
sense. Right. But here's the other thing to that. Adam Cole is also not a martial arts legend master. So I don't know if that comparison, like, while I do agree that Adam Cole is better than what Virtue says, I don't know if I can stand by that comparison because he's not a world champion karate master.
Hey, and I was given, was that a beep? Did I hear a beep?
Yeah, somebody's car or something.
I was like totally like Adam Cole, Orange Cassidy for that title. Boom. Like, I'm not burying
I
the
think
guy
that's
like
a little
he shouldn't
rough.
be.
I think Orange Cassidy is rough to put with
He's
Adam.
the mascot of AEW,
man.
though. He's
I don't know,
okay.
man.
Aaron, what else we got before we move to the Bloodline?
All right. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, Robbie, what's your favorite Matt Riddle match?
I cannot remember a single Matt Riddle match that has ever happened. And I will tell you that I have not watched a Matt Riddle match in I don't know how long. That's an automatic fast forward for me.
All right.
When he got the doves, when he kicked off his stupid flip-flops, that was it. I just couldn't do it anymore. That
All
was the
right.
end of it.
Riddle and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline. There you go. That's his best
Randy
match,
Orton
'cause
is
the
not coming
Bloodline was
back.
in there.
And if he does, it's not going to be for a long time.
Well, that's a whole other topic for a different video. Maybe 250 we'll talk about Randy Orton. Mr. Anderson sent in a $2. He agrees with you, Virtue. MJF and Adam Cole are very cringe. He's not a fan.
Kiss ass.
And like, to be fair, I did, like, when they first started doing this, I was watching those segments. I didn't like to see a couple clips and like that was my fate, my decision. I was following it to the stuff, to the dance. The dancing night entertained me to a point, but like I was like, okay, now, and then the next week I was let down again. And
yeah, as soon as they started throwing balls at little kids, you turned out.
I don't know.
Well, I think I have my stance on children on TV is well known, and I think that's awesome. When you can throw something at a child on TV, I think that's gold.
Like, it's one, like, Robbie, so like $1 Million Man kicking the ball from the kid's hand versus an adult throw, like the make-believe of an adult throwing.
I think they're both equally funny. To me personally, I think anytime, like, but I also love all those clips of like NBA summer camps for like the youth camp when you have like back in the day, like, you know, Garnett just like talking shit to 7-year-olds and just blocking them at the rim and stuff like that. So I think stuff like that is hilarious. Just like when I play any game with my nieces, dude, I am relentless. I will never let them win, and I will talk bad shit.
My bar is set so high for entertainment, though. Like,
I get it.
So like, if the kids were doing their dodgeball thing, and then all of a sudden Tony Khan was with the kids, and then he got hit in the face with a dodgeball by MJF, I would have popped.
Of course,
I would have popped.
Want to see misfortune to Tony Khan? You just don't like the guy.
But no, that's
and it clouds your judgment.
Wait, misfortune? That would be him entertaining me, because he would be in a skit getting hit by a dodgeball from MJF. That's Mr. McMahon, Stone Cold type shit. See, I'm spoiled from the Attitude Era, Aaron, and I don't know. All right, what else you got?
All right. Miguel sent in a $2 super chat, says Bret Hart was a great world champion. Yeah, he was. Great world champion. I do think he was probably more larger in size than Adam Cole, quite a bit.
Look, again, and it sucks because I'm on these people's side. I like Adam Cole in this. I don't think the size is a thing, but like, all of these things, you're trying to like force a comparison that doesn't make sense. That don't compare Bret Hart. Are you kidding? Have you seen what that guy looked like? I mean, again, huge Adam Cole fan, but don't make these comparisons that just don't make sense. Just stop.
And I was fine with Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano in NXT. Like, it's like, I don't want to be like the bad guy per se, because there's room in the wrestling business for Adam Cole.
Basically, you don't believe that Adam Cole as world champion makes sense because you don't think that he's the number one guy. You think that there's plenty of guys that can beat him in a fight. You don't believe that he can beat anybody in a fight.
And just the way, I don't know, the pecking order, his pecking order should have been longer, if anything. I don't know.
I mean, I agree to a point where the world champion should be a guy that you believe cannot be defeated by anybody in the world in a real fight. Like, if you're in a dark alley and there's two guys fighting, is Adam Cole really going to be the last man standing?
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, and MJF, MJF too, when he got the title, like he put in that work and he jacked himself up even more. Yeah. And I think he did it the right way. I don't think he's on anything and like, I was like, man, that's good job. You're taking this seriously. That's awesome.
Yeah, my problem with it though, and here's what I'll say on the opposite side of what I was defending earlier, is why do we have people, you know, I think he's lost a lot of luster, but you know, I think there's a huge audience that obviously loves CM Punk and wants to see him. Why would someone of Punk's caliber not be going for the title right now? Especially if you look at like who is actually going for this belt or who it's leading up to. Yeah. Punk should look at that and be like, dude, I could kick that guy's ass. I'm going to get this title. Right. So
and he brought the other title.
Wise, storyline wise, it just doesn't make sense. Or even Hangman Page. Why doesn't he want to get his belt back? Why doesn't Kenny Omega? Like, why aren't the top people involved? It's kind of like, it's almost like when you would see the 24/7 title run in during a heavyweight champion match and they just like watch them and ignore them because no one cares about it. It kind of feels like some of the outside of MJF that the top names in AEW right now, for some reason, don't seem to be interested in that title. I mean, and I think that diminishes it.
That's a great point, Robbie. And I remember like in '97, there was the title situation in WWE, and like you had Bret Hart and Vader and Sid and British Bulldog, and they even did like an angle on TV where all these guys were cutting promos saying they wanted to be the WWE champion, and all these guys were vying for it. yeah, it feels like, CM Punk has that Real World's title. Where is this going? Like, are they doing this for All Out or no? Like, they haven't really teased anything other than CM Punk has that
even have the
title.
card for All Out, like,
and MJF has said nothing. Like, he hasn't acknowledged Punk at all.
Yeah.
I know. So it's really weird. Like, they're doing these 2 pay-per-views back to back, and yeah, I guess we'll have to see what they do for All In. But yeah, it feels like we don't even know what's going on for All Out. There's been no real definitive direction for the world title.
I think this is what's going to happen. Obviously, Punk's going to retain against Joe. MJF is going to retain against Adam Cole. And then after the main event, CM Punk comes out and challenges MJF. Or MJF calls out CM Punk after the show and challenges for All Out. Because like you said, literally All Out is like the week right after.
Yeah, I hope Tony Khan has a good plan for all this with All In and All Out, because it feels like right now, like it's not really being built up strongly, and
they're
having
a week
trouble.
apart, Aaron.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
it's
Interesting.
rough. That'd be like having WrestleMania and then like 2 weeks later having SummerSlam or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah,
I mean, who can afford that back to back?
I mean, I guess some fans
Yeah, that's
will,
like
some
$100.
fans won't. Yeah, for not a small amount of money for most people. It's a lot to ask for.
Or one Reddit account.
Yeah. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat, says Virtue is right on the nose tonight, y'all are marks. Well, there you go. Tito
It's
and
so
Virtue are
weird.
always
like
at odds, and they're getting
we had a
along
truce.
tonight.
We had a truce. We had a
For
nice,
now,
heartfelt discussion. More than ever than we ever had before. So far so good, right?
Well,
we all-
maybe
I mean-
Tito,
I mean,
Tito
we're
will
all
be
marks.
on next week. Tito, are you going to be on next week for 250? Like,
If we
I mean-
run long enough, his kids will be asleep and he can jump in late to just have that connection going.
yeah, and then we'll go another 3 hours like we did for 200. We'll see what happens. That's next week, folks. 250. If you thought this week was explosive, just wait till next week when we possibly have Tito on and other people might be coming on, and we might have some interesting discussion next week. Might top this week. Probably will top this week. The This Guy Experience sent in $2 just to get a word in and all this. He is a WWE fan, but AEW has some good stuff. There you go.
Hey, This Guy Experience, all right, read your super chat right now. I want to hear you say it. You're on the show. Go ahead. Verbally say it.
I am a WWE fan, but AEW does have some good stuff. It's just most of the time it's the stuff that I'm drawn to, or it's sports entertainer side of things. And since they don't really have that, it's mostly the dive, as RKO used to say it. When I get that nugget of sports and entertainment, that's when I like, oh, okay, cool, you have my attention. But if everyone's keep jumping and doing 3,000 super kicks, getting up from getting like shot with a rocket, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go another 5 to 10 minutes, like I don't really care about that.
To be fair, that's mostly the Elite and Moxley doing a lot of that. Those kind of offensive,
And see,
I think.
like MJF, he works a style of match that's not like that. Like he'll do some stuff, but he tries to be more old school. Punk, obviously, we know how he works. And with Adam Cole, nope, it's got to be like the new indie way, whatever you call it. And that's another thing. It's just like the clash of what I like to see. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, there's a place for Adam Cole in my wrestling bubble. Just against MJF for the AEW title isn't what I want to see, with a big, funny storyline heading into it. I don't know, but
Well, guess
Aaron-
what? AEW at Wembley Stadium has surpassed 80,000 tickets distributed.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Which again, it's going to make it fun for down the line, because it's coming. WrestleMania, they will break 100,000. But
I
anyway,
mean, yeah, you're probably right. This is likely going to
good on AEW. They're
speed
going to
up the
have that.
process.
They're going to have that, but the corporation is plotting because they want that back. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, because
for AEW, let's start seeing those numbers over here. I mean, that's a big event in England.
Very true.
They got Tony Khan needs to find a way to get that maximize what's about to happen. Like,
yeah, and that's why they should have been hyping up all in sooner than this and building up matches and having clear matches for both shows like a month out at least, if not longer. All right, let's get to these. Yeah, we got more super chat. We got quite a few, so we're running behind here. Miguel with a $2 super chat says, "I wasn't defending Adam Cole. I was proving Brett." There you go. I mean, Brett was great. I think we can all agree on that. One of the best of all time. B-Man sent in a $5 super chat, says, "If Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 40, do you think he'll break Hulk Hogan's record?"
At this point, might freaking well.
Yes.
I would be shocked if he has it after that.
I agree. If Roman Reigns is still champion after WrestleMania 40, then yes, I think he's going to break
making
Hogan's
him
record.
look so vulnerable now. It screams that he's got a shelf life on this championship run.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that here in a few moments. Who is Blue Cane? Do you feel Vince is mad he didn't make Blue Cane? What is that? I've
It's
seen
an
it on
indie
Twitter.
thing. Yeah, it's just an indie thing. Instead of fire, it's like ice. It'd be funny if it was Glacier playing Blue Cane.
All right, yeah. I mean,
I'm
$1
million setup for Glacier, man. Didn't it cost like a lot of money every time that he came out or something like an obscene amount of money?
Yeah,
Little Mortal
cared
Kombat.
about him. Mike Anderson sent in a $5 super chat. Well, here's a $1 million question. Do you think the Montreal screw job was a work? No,
but they turned it into elements like it could have been to work to really fool fans after the fact.
I mean,
I think
Vince worked it into a lot of money for himself with the Mr. McMahon character and all the storylines that played up on it.
I think the animosity with Brett was there, and everything how it happened was, it was legit.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion,
that Loogie was real.
I think Vince just wanted to get rid of Brett. Like he felt like Brett was not representing his vision. Vince was moving into the Attitude Era. Brett was not really on board with doing all of the Attitude Era stuff and the vulgarities and everything. And
he didn't want to pay him this
huge contract. Yeah, he didn't want to pay him.
Vince didn't want to pay him. I think
Brett was playing into it though, like with the Hart Foundation, Pillman.
Yeah, I think it was the best and the best work that has ever happened in wrestling history. I think a lot of it makes sense of why it would be a work. I think Vince offered him all this money, and then WCW counter offered after this way more. And I think he went to Vince, and Vince is like, "Dude, I can't do it." And I think about just Bret Hart and how he would want to go out, and why would they not create something that would obviously catapult Bret Hart into legendary status, and then Vince McMahon makes a ton of money and publicity. I think everyone involved made a ton of money and made a career out of it. There's no way that wasn't a work. I don't think that could just happen like that. I think it absolutely was planned out, and I think everyone knew about it.
I think Vince is a genius. I'm going to give it to him, because you're taking a tragedy that's happening to your company and you're turning into like millions of dollars. I just think he has the capability of rolling with the punches and then creating the Attitude Era.
He literally rolled with the punches. He got knocked out.
Yeah,
and he
did. Yeah, well, in theory. But man, I'll tell you.
So Robbie, you're saying they were in the locker room and Vince is like, "Okay, Brett, don't do it too hard. Just come on, give me that shiner."
I mean, I think he's like, "Yeah, pal, why don't you spit in my face, make it look real?" Because Vince would be all about it too. He's like, "Yeah, punch me, I don't care."
That is true.
And I'm not saying everyone in the locker room knew about it, but I bet you Brett knew. I bet you Sean knew, Hebner, and probably some of the Stooges and Vince. And I think that was it. And I think they all made a pact that says, "Hey, this is something, no matter what happens, this is the best work that's ever happened in wrestling. We're all going to make a ton of money off this and be legends. Just STFU and get your money." Now, unfortunately, Bret Hart ran into the worst booking in wrestling history, as well as Bill Goldberg's foot. So he didn't really have the long lasting, benefit of it. But WCW, it was there. All of it was there for him to be a huge star in WCW. It just didn't quite work out. But I would say it worked out for WWE and Vince quite well.
Robbie, since you brought that up, because I was on some debate on Twitter or X, I know you're not over there anymore. Whose fault, if you had to pick whose fault Starrcade 97 was out of one person?
The Hart Goldberg?
Yeah,
Or
no,
just
No,
Hogan.
Sting and Hogan.
Sting, Hogan.
Hogan with
Oh,
Bret
yeah,
Hart showing up.
So
Who was
that's Hogan.
the
That was
one-
Hogan.
Hogan.
That's Hogan.
Hogan.
Okay,
Hogan
I
and
still
Nick
say
Patrick.
it was Bischoff's fault because he put that power in charge. I think Bischoff.
Yeah.
it's his
Okay.
fault.
So if you want to look at it from a macro level, yeah, I think Bischoff.
Yeah,
initially,
okay,
like he allowed that to happen, but that was 100% Hogan going up to Nick Patrick, and he's like, just do a regular count, brother.
Oh yeah. Beyond what's
Patrick
the-
also
yeah.
had that.
This fast
legendary
count doesn't
slow
work
count.
for me, brother.
Yeah. But like, how fast was a Nick Patrick fast count too? Because dude, sometimes man, you just be like, dude, that's like 8 seconds for that 3 count. So
Okay. All right, Aaron.
All right. Back to the super chat. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. He says, "Do you want Tony Khan to get hit with a bedpan?" What do you think, Virtue?
Well, I want it to
Anything.
be different. I don't want it to be exactly what happened in WWE. The dodgeball would have been great. Something like I know he comes out before the shows and he does his little announcement to get the crowd hyped. He's been on TV before because he announced that he bought Ring of Honor. He was an Impact. So it's not like he's completely trying to stay off of the camera. Just anything. I don't care what it would be.
You know what would have been funny? Would have been
dart, whatever.
You know that line that MJF said about Hulk Hogan on Dynamite?
yeah, the snorting him.
Snorting. He should have used Tony Khan's name instead of
That
Hulk
would
Hogan's name. I mean, because of all the memes and the jokes about Tony Khan, like
because he does
that,
cocaine. Yeah,
well, I mean, people
Dude, that would
claim
be
that.
something.
allegedly.
That would be something if Tony Khan's character ended up on TV and they did a cocaine angle and he'd always look like he was doing something.
Like the
wiping his
Scott
nose.
Hall angle, just with Tony.
Or if
Khan
they
and
made him
coke.
Scarface, Tony's Scarface Khan.
I'd pop for that. But anyway, Attitude
Just
Era
the-
stuff.
The world is yours in his office. That'd be great.
Right. Mr. Anderson sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Says Christian Cage interview segment on Rampage. I think it had his daughter in it, and that was actually funnier than the MJF segment. What was that? Like his daughter was there and he like shoot her off or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Anybody saw? I think I saw a clip of it, but
I saw a clip of it. Yeah.
I mean, Rampage is Rampage. I don't really have much time for it these days. Rage of Wrestling sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Go back to Walter, please. Says, to be honest, I can believe that Adam Cole can be champion. Shit, The Miz is a 2-time champion, but I need Punk versus the Elite. It's just the elephant in the room. Anybody have a rebuttal on that one? About
Well,
The Miz?
Maple Leaf has a couple of good points, but I think that I would like to see CM Punk and Omega. I mean, that's the match that I want to see if it has to happen. But I just think they waited just a hair too long. I just think I don't know. I just think it's kind of lost the edge and the buzz around it.
Yeah, I agree on that.
He's way taller than Adam Cole, and
Is
according
he?
to Jack, like I believe so. Is it Miz like 6'2" or something like that? 6'2",
Miz?
6'3", something like that.
Somebody Google
But
it.
like
I'm
to
gonna
be,
look
fa-
it
to
up
be
right
fair,
now.
I buy Miz more as a world champion than Adam Cole. And Miz cuts a great promo when needed, but
Well, the thing about Miz is he's really good at doing all the interviews and media appearances.
yeah, and he's a good chicken shit heel.
He
Like,
dresses
that's
in the
classic-
suit. He dresses in the suit, so he at least gives himself the presentation of looking like a champion.
This is 6'1", 6'2".
That's surprising.
Yeah,
All right,
he's like-
next super chat, Aaron. We got to get to the bloodline here.
Yes. Psycho Jet Black, this is what this guy experience has been waiting for. The bloodline talk says, would you rather meet and greet Glacier or Ryback?
Glacier, are you kidding?
Yeah, I would meet Glacier.
I
especially
already
if he
met
had his
Ryback.
pyro.
so-
Okay. Do you want to see
Cool.
Ryback at All In, Virtue?
No.
on the
If he
spot
ever,
here.
if he ever came back, and he's never going to because he burned his bridge, it would be
Yeah.
WWE. It wouldn't make sense. He just at this point, he's got to realize his wrestling career is done. He should just stick to his nutritional store or whatever he
and-
sells, vitamins.
Big guys in AEW like don't exactly have the best track record of
Yeah.
getting
And
to the
I
main
know
event.
Ryback said some nasty things, but like if he ever had a shot back in the business, I wouldn't be mad about it. Like a Del Rio, that's a different story because of
Do you think the fan base would accept Ryback though in AEW? I think they
No.
would boo that man out of the building.
They
No,
would boo
no,
him out
that's
of the
another.
building.
Yeah, that's why WWE could mask it well. But again, like I think he's It'd have to be like NWA.
Oh,
or
the
something like
WWE
that.
fans, the
Or
WWE
Impact.
fans would cheer him. They would be like,
They
"Welcome
would do his
back."
entrance, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would
Yeah.
probably sing his stupid
AEW fans would boom out of the building, I think. Jay sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "Do you think Austin and Rock inspired LA Knight?"
Yes.
Yeah,
That's okay. That's a good thing.
yeah, absolutely. If you're gonna be influenced by anybody, you might as well be influenced by
Top two of the attitude.
top two
music,
names.
man. Music
Yeah.
happens all the time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "What would you put in the book of virtue? Virtue. What would you put in it? Don't be a mark."
You're a mark. Not don't.
That's it.
You're a mark.
You're like, if
Here.
you
I don't
love
know.
this book,
Like
you're a mark.
the book of virtues. I mean, you could put a lot of things in there. Definitely make sure you have a chapter that MJF is above Adam Cole and a chapter about Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. So
All right, and the chapter about getting through this without sidetracking too much. But let's get to the next one here so we can hopefully get to the Bloodline. My favorite username, 26.2 miles outside parts unknown, sent in a $5 super chat. Says, "What's AEW's version of WrestleMania? Is it All In or All Out? So confusing with their pay-per-view names."
Double or Nothing, I think, is theirs.
Well, that was their first show, but All In was what led to the formation.
what was
of
a
AEW.
show that Cody and the Young Bucks led
All In.
before Tony?
All
All
In.
In. It's not All Out is probably their WrestleMania, right, Aaron?
I would say All In because this is like the stadium show.
Where's Noah Foster?
Well,
You would know.
I would say my opinion, I would say All In because I feel like the four main pay-per-views have been weighed pretty evenly. Double or Nothing.
See, it's confusing. They did All Out because it's like All In wasn't really Tony Khan's.
It was Ring of Honor's intellectual property.
Yeah, so
and then
maybe you
the
group
sale
those shows
happened.
together now. Now, if they're going to call it All In, like it shouldn't have been called All In. It should have just been All Out and Wembley Stadium. They shouldn't have done the All In ever again. That should have been the one-time deal. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's a little confusing, and there really is no pay-per-view that's like considered at a higher level. But because this is at Wembley Stadium, you would think All In now is going to be the big show for AEW moving forward. Because what are they going to do? Downgrade to an arena next year? Although Virtue, to be fair, next year we'll see. It's going to be a big
stadium
test.
in the state. That's the big test. Do a stadium,
Or
in the
even
States. Start in Jacksonville where Tony Khan can eat some of it if it does struggle.
even overseas. Can they draw a crowd of that size ever again?
I think they can if they go to the UK and stuff like that. I think that fan base is pretty hungry for big events and things. I think they'll show out to just to. I think anything WWE or AEW does in the UK will do very well.
And Aaron, let's be honest. So, like, we know the gate was really high, but say a WrestleMania is over there in Wembley. What's the average ticket price compared to average ticket price All In? I would really like to know that. Like, it has to be different. Like, I would say WWE has to be like 25% higher. What do you think, Robbie?
I honestly have no idea. I could speculate, but I don't even have like a baseline. I would assume that they would be similar pricing, but I don't know if they have things like Ticketmaster there that makes everything.
Like, I'm curious at Wembley Stadium for this 80,000, whatever they're drawing, how many $20 cheap seats they got?
Yeah, like
they got a shit
like
ton
the general
of them.
admission.
Then I'm not surprised why it's doing what it's doing. You know.
I mean, that's a good question. I would like to find that out because I think that does.
Right,
kind of
Brandon
put a little bit
Thurston better get
perspective.
on that. Yeah, I want to know.
We should actually see that. I would like to see what they're charging for the gate for that versus what WWE did for their what was the UK event they did over there?
SummerSlam 92?
Yeah, the Clash at the Castle or whatever. It was.
That one.
So I would like to see what the gates were, or whatever the last big pay-per-view they did overseas was. I would like to see those gate comparisons.
I'd like to see the next topic, but we got to get through these super chats.
Yeah.
Well, Psycho Jet Black is going to make sure we get to 2 hours before we even get to the main event here. He said WWE and AEW should do a stadium show in Mexico. I think it comes down to the money. If they can get a big enough deal from Mexico, I mean, that remains to be seen.
I wouldn't feel safe in Mexico. And
I mean, they do shows there, but yeah, I mean, the money would have to be right for them to even consider it. Like Mexico would have to.
Yeah, the Saudis had to convince like a few $1 billion. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, I want to see MJF cut a promo on Enzo Amore. Hey, Virtue, did you hear that Enzo's doing a New Japan match?
That's it. And, he's still floating around there doing some stuff here and there.
Where is he? Now, he's a small guy, but he is entertaining as hell. And
But I'd be fine if he was a cruiserweight or a manager or a tag team, like where he just gets the hot tag.
He should be on national television. Like, they did not. I mean, it was basically there was proof that that woman was bragging about having sex with him. Like, he should be on a national television show.
Someone recently said, it's Tony Schiavone was saying how nice of a guy Enzo was. Somebody in the business.
Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, there you go. This even more credibility for Enzo to possibly get a job again. But maybe he doesn't want it too. Maybe he just likes doing what he's doing. Who knows?
Yeah, but I'd love to see him back. And Michael has an interesting question here. He sent in $2. Thank you, Michael. What are the odds of NXT actually catching and beating Dynamite in viewership? I mean, NXT has been doing better, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think NXT, they got Dominic and Judgment Day, but I mean, who else can they bring in? Are they going to actually have Roman Reigns show up on NXT? Unless they do that. But
there'd have to be some Samoan blood coming up through NXT. That would be the only way. Why would Bloodline go down there to recruit?
That would be cool to see him if they did have their younger brother or whatever show up there, and then have the Bloodline sit ringside to like scout him out or whatever. I think that could be fun.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, they brought Rollins down there, and the numbers are up a bit, but I don't think there's really anything else they can do short of actually bringing Roman Reigns there, and I do not see that happening.
Brock.
All right. Right.
Yeah, have Brock Lesnar become the NXT champion. I'm sure that crowd would love that.
Oh, yeah. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, said, is Austin Theory a modern day Alex Riley? Anybody remember Alex Riley?
I do.
No.
Yeah.
He's not.
I think he's better than Alex Riley.
I think he's
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just gotta figure something else out. Like what he's doing now hasn't been working. I think he's just got to change it up a little bit. Guy's really talented.
Put himself in there, man. It doesn't feel like him. It does. I think the gimmick and everything is fine, but either he's not 100% into it, but it does. I feel like there's like a piece of that character that has to come from him, and he's still real young, and he'll probably figure it out. But I think he just needs to figure out for himself what that character is and really take it on.
Hey, Mo Camera, I'm inviting you onto 250 next Sunday night. We're going to have a rotating panel. Mo Camera, I know you were very defensive of AEW and critical of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. We got to have Virtue's Rage.
But I think he changed his tune at some point. If I remember correctly.
He's still he's still Team AEW. So I think we got to
I missed the Mo Money days. What happened to that, man?
Gave all his money to Aaron.
Yeah, the Lyft or whatever Uber service he does must not be that hot up in Toronto these days.
Well, anyways, Mo, you're invited next week. Mr. Tito said he can be on after 9:30, and it's almost 9:30 right now. So I think it's pretty much a sure thing we're going to get Tito on next week.
Tito, you want to come on tonight and talk about the Bloodline?
You want to come on and take off that mask for us for 250? It's a milestone. But anyways, let's get to this last super chat here and then main event time. So if you guys plan on sending super chats, send them about the Bloodline, what you think is going to happen with the Usos moving forward, because that's our main event topic, so we can stay on topic. Jay sent in a $2 super chat, says, will The Rock ever return, and do you miss him? I do miss him. I miss him, and I think he will be back.
Well, he'll be back for WrestleMania weekend.
He'll show up
for like a Hall of Fame or something.
He'll come up with a flamethrower, light something on fire, leave.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. That'll be a new t-shirt.
In the back.
New t-shirt. Flamethrower, arrive, flamethrower, leave. Something
it's gonna make Jumanji 3.
Gonna make what's the movie where he was
the Tooth Fairy?
Tooth Fairy. Yeah, exactly. Tooth Fairy Part 2. All right, Virtue.
It'll be 3.
Okay. Main event time. This guy experience, I'll start with you since you've been kind of sitting there idle. Although you can speak up or raise your hand. Jey Uso quits. SmackDown, WWE, the Bloodline. Jimmy is still rogue, it looks like. Roman, although he's winning his matches, he needs help, and then he's not looking good. Every time he's out there in segments, he's getting kicked and beat up quite a bit. So we got a vulnerable Roman Reigns. What's next for the Bloodline? It's like a weekly episodic thing here on the NoDQ review. We got to talk about it. Go ahead, this guy.
All right. Well, let me paint a picture back a couple weeks ago. Well, last weekend for SummerSlam. Had a cookout. Had my projector outside watching SummerSlam. The second half of it, anyway. I screamed out loud after Jimmy came, or when he unmasked and screwed his younger brother out. I said, I can't say the word, but I screamed loud in my neighborhood. WTF, pretty much.
Emotion.
Yes, I was very pissed off. I almost had a tear come out of my eye because I was very, very shocked.
With a tear in my eye.
Yes, and again, that's the what is it? Entertainment part of WWE. That's where you need to go. The wrestling's fine and great. Now, where does the Bloodline go from here? Since Jimmy is rogue, and I mean, it makes sense. He doesn't want him to get a big head like Roman and become evil, pretty much. Let's go with that. The next thing, I mean, it just really depends, because I know for a fact they're not going to do a major title change in for Survivor Series. Next month is pointless. So the next handful of months until this year ends, it's probably just going to be some chatter back and forth. We might get, since Jay is quitting, probably just taking a few weeks off. We'll probably have Jimmy interrogate Roman and Solo and see where they're at. I don't think they're gonna merge back together, because it just wouldn't make any sense. I think they took care of this storyline for the last 3 years too carefully. I mean, obviously they had a little bit of slip up. Like, I can't think of the top of my head, but it was like a couple times I side-eyed the storyline, but it's like late in the game, and it's too late to fumble the ball like this bad. So I just believe they're gonna just have a few weeks off, like let Roman have like next week off, probably bring him back right before the next event, and have like Jimmy just speak to either Solo, speak to Heyman, and just try to pull Solo from underneath Roman's thumb. And then from there, we'll see like WrestleMania. Even though we have 3 more months of this year, WrestleMania is right around the corner, pretty much. Like, this is just a lame duck part of the year. No offense to Survivor Series, and we're just gonna have to wait until WrestleMania 40 to get the conclusion. I personally think it's gonna end just like you said earlier, Virtue, about Roman being like so broken right now. They probably will give him a last hurrah, like kick Jimmy's behind, like right before. Like I could see Jimmy having a match with Roman, and then him getting beat down. Then comes a heroic Jay. And that's in November. Then in December, no one cares about Royal Rumble. That's when we start the tail end of the great storyline, and that's the end of it.
I gotta give props to Roman, because he's getting his cousins, other than Solo, who's got to be there every week. He's giving his cousins the Roman contract. They're getting paid, but they get time off. Now it's Jay's turn. Like, these guys have to be loving it when they travel, when they hang out. They're like, man, we're getting any time off we want. We're still the main focus when we're on TV. Big G, what do you think here? And then I have a thing brewing here of the whole my gut feeling telling me.
All right. So I talked about this last
night
on Jeff Show too. So basically, I said, this Jay and Jimmy thing is going to end up at WrestleMania 40. Jay's going to return at Royal Rumble and eliminate Jimmy, and they'll do their feud. They'll probably have their match on night 1. Roman will probably do his thing against God, who knows. I mean, you got Sheamus that he's never faced during this reign. You got Bobby Lashley, who he's never faced during this long reign, and AJ Styles. So you got like 3 opponents there. And I mean, I'm sure WWE is going to go back to their ways at Survivor Series and have Raw versus SmackDown, and you'll have him versus Seth Rollins. But yeah, so basically, nothing against the Bloodline, nothing against Roman Reigns, nothing against Usos, nothing against Solo, but I'm over the Bloodline storyline. I am so over it. I feel like they're milking it way too much now. Like Paul Heyman, did his little tweet. I know he's working us, but he's like, we're in the 7th inning or the 3rd inning, and there's so much left you can do, but you can't do much. There's nothing else you can do. You made Roman Reigns very vulnerable when he lost to Jey Uso at Money in the Bank, and now you got the Usos, who, like I said yesterday, and I believe this are one of the greatest tag teams in recent history. And you have, that you break up tag teams, but the Usos made up the tag team division. They were the glue that held that division together. But like I said, nothing against any of them. I've loved the storyline for the past 3 years. I just think it's time to move on. And you want to build up other superstars and give them TV time, but your main focus is Roman, and that's your guy. I understand that. That's, like I said, I've loved it for the past 3 years. I'm just over it, and I want to see a new storyline that will be equivalent to the Bloodline storyline.
There you go. You got your Adam Cole and MJF over in AEW. There you go. That's the equal level. So you're happy. Big G, I just was informed that the next Saudi Arabia show is November 4th. Can't all of you guys see the writing on the wall? Roman Reigns is going to defend his championship against Jimmy Uso in Saudi Arabia, and Jay's going to pull Jimmy out and be like, "You're not winning it either." That's what we called it.
Because I'm sure we're not going to see Roman for like the next couple of months.
Yeah, probably Saudi Arabia.
Especially if he's dealing with
Jimmy
this, like,
it's going to be a role reversal, and that's going to build the Jimmy and Jay thing for even more, and then there'll be more if Royal Rumble, like you said, and then there you go. It's coming all. Hey, this is going all the way, Big G, whether you like it or not. The next,
I know. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Big G, you caused this. You caused the extra extended life of the Bloodline storyline because I wanted Rock in Hollywood. It could have all been over. It could, and you said nope, not going to happen. It is your fault, Big G, that now we're going to WrestleMania 40 and maybe beyond. So there you go.
Who put the idea of Hogan? That was a super chat, right? Like, come on. Now that might actually happen. He might actually beat Hulk Hogan's run and go past WrestleMania 40.
Anything else, Big G, before I pass it to Robbie?
Okay.
Robbie Weiss.
I'm not over the Bloodline. I don't think it's old yet, but I think we're definitely seeing the very end of this book of Roman Reigns. I very much doubt he goes past WrestleMania 40. So I mean, it's hard to talk about what's happening with the Bloodline because it's literally the same thing that happens every week with the Bloodline. It is getting a little repetitive. It's still interesting. There's still dynamics to it. I don't think it'll ever be as hot as like when Sami Zayn was doing the stuff with them. I think that was kind of the peak of the faction. But by design, Roman's looking vulnerable and the group is falling apart, which is, making Roman himself vulnerable, like Virtue said earlier. I think what's going to end up happening with this is, you're going to have Cody Rhodes win the Rumble. By that time, I'm assuming the entire bloodline will be fractured. I think eventually it's going to be Solo and the Usos having their own little mini faction with tag team titles and probably a mid-card belt for Solo. But I think when Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble, I think the former bloodline will do something to help Cody out or fend off some other henchman that Roman has. So they can still be involved in that final ending to this story. But yeah, I think we're in the final throes of it and just enjoy it because you don't see many long-term storytelling things like this in the modern age. And yep, it's been a fun ride though.
And Robbie, the best part about it, and I'm thinking of Macho Man Liz from WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 7, even 8 when Savage won the title.
Mm-hmm.
As a baby face one more time. Way down the road. The blood, they're all going to be in that ring together.
Yeah.
But baby face reunited through all that. That's the finish the story more than Cody, in my opinion. But
yeah, I would like to see
Roman will go home and retire, but maybe.
No, what I would like to see from Roman though, especially leading up to it, I think if he loses the bloodline, I just want to see an unhinged, violent Roman Reigns that just shows up at the shows, interrupts matches, lays everyone out, gets on the mic and demands his stuff, causes havoc. Somewhere they've done that in the past, with like what was it, Miz and R-Truth when they were in the cage and they took over it's happened several times in wrestling history. Or like when Kane would just come out and just destroy whatever match, his music would hit, and because he wanted the Undertaker. Like, I want to see Roman just completely not trusting anyone, turning on Heyman, just being like a cornered animal and just absolutely unhinged. That's what I want to see. And then maybe after he loses, you have a redemption storyline or something down the road where, like you said, they could all be faces, the family's back together, everything is right, even though if they go their separate ways, whatever. I think that is a great end of that story.
Yeah, because remember, babyface Roman, he did lose matches, but he kicked out a lot. He won a lot and never needed help. Like, he won a majority, like 80-90% of his matches. And like, this Roman needs help every time.
Well, I don't think he needs it. I think he likes it. I think it's the work smarter, not harder thing. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah. Aaron.
All right. We ready for some super chats?
Yeah.
All right. First one here. Shout out to the Cleaver. Colin Andrews sent in $2. Says, gnarly show so far, guys. Much love to NoDQ. We love you, Colin. Thank you for tuning in. And Michael sent in a $2 super chat. Says, Jimmy did it for Rikishi, who did it for The Rock. Yeah, let's not think of that Rikishi storyline. Although I would like to see Rikishi show up on WWE television at some point and have some kind of involvement in all this. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. But
maybe he'll be the one that brings The Rock.
Yeah, maybe Rikishi will bring The Rock to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania or something. Who knows? I still think it's going to be Cody and The Rock, or not Cody and The Rock, Cody and Roman Reigns. Yeah, maybe Cody.
Yeah.
Maybe Cody versus
Rumble,
The Rock.
You think Cody's just going to win the Rumble? I mean, that's the only way.
Gunther's going to win the Rumble. Cody's going to win Elimination Chamber to face Roman.
Bold prediction there, but we'll talk more about that in January. There's could be a lot of twists and turns between now and then.
Jeff Jarrett may be in the title hunt by then. So
okay. So we got Jey Uso quitting, and I'm thinking that he might be back around when Virtue said maybe Crown Jewel. Is it Crown Jewel? Whatever the next Saudi Arabia show is. I could see that happening. What I would like to see is Jey Uso actually show up at an independent wrestling promotion, like really play off that he has quit, like sell it. So some people out there are convinced that he's really gone. Yeah. Like we all make the jokes.
Impact.
I mean, we all make the joke.
Oh wait, no, Naomi's on Impact. There you go.
They, people are making the joke, Jey Uso all elite. Like, that's not going to happen. But Impact Wrestling, that would work. Jey Uso shows up in Impact, gives them a little bit of a boost, but it also sells the WWE storyline that he's really gone. And maybe Jimmy could even show up on Impact with Naomi or something. Like, they could do something with that.
Was Mickie James with them when they did that? They had her on, so they have a working history. So I don't think it would be out of the question. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I would be very intrigued if that happened. And I think that would do a great job of selling this quitting storyline. Because, I mean, does anybody realistically think he's gone? Like, it's clearly a storyline. Right. But, make us second guess a little bit. Like, they missed the opportunity with CM Punk in 2011 when he left with the title. He should have gone to some indie shows with that WWE title. Like, that would have gotten people hot. Instead, they just brought him back like 2 weeks later. And that's what I'm afraid is going to happen, is they're just going to bring Jay back in like a week or two. And, the whole quitting thing was just a short-term way to try and bump the ratings for the show.
Now, since he quit, when they bring him back, do you want to see a new contract signing for his new WWE contract, Aaron?
Oh, yeah. Well, why not? He has to sign a new contract, sign a contract for a match with Jimmy
live
Uso
on SmackDown
at Payback or whatever. Like, I thought they were going to do the match at Payback because the name Payback would be fitting for that, but maybe not. I mean, they could drag this out to WrestleMania. I'm not sure how they pull that off, but we have seen them drag out storylines before. Maybe they'll make it work. Yeah. We do have a few other super chats here, so let me get to those. Building Nexus sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Building Nexus says, does Roman Reigns need a clean win over someone like Bobby Lashley or Seth Rollins to show that he doesn't need his family to win matches?
He has a whole history of doing it. He has years of just destroying people. Again, I think he's doing the work smarter, not harder approach to this, which is what a lot of heels do. He doesn't need the help, but it's the same way Hogan in the late 90s. He didn't need the help, but he would take it, and he's still Hulk Hogan. He can still gonna kick your ass. So
Yeah.
I think that's where Roman is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a few of his title matches end cleanly. I think they've relied too much on the
I'll give you that.
interference. But yeah, I mean, with the Jey story, like, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. If you're having Jimmy and Jey feud, you want to have Jimmy cost him the match, and that's what they did. And I thought it was a good segment on SmackDown. But yeah, I really hope they make the most out of this quitting storyline, and it's not just Jey comes back in a week or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, this guy experience.
So would you like to see a Matt Hardy invasion like with the Edge storyline? Just having a
but we got to believe it because Matt was really fired.
Yeah.
And they're not going to really fire Jey, but they can act like he really left and he's like on Impact or something, or even just a random indie show. But Impact, I think, would be the most
Imagine that
interesting.
YouTube, dude. Imagine the YouTube views if he showed up on Impact.
I'd watch Impact.
That's what I'm saying. I bet you that would bring a lot more eyes to Impact than when the Kenny Omega showed up on their show.
Oh, for sure. Like way more.
That's not an insult, man. That's you're talking about one of the biggest, the guy associated with the biggest name in wrestling.
I will say this: if he showed up in Impact, they would get their most views since they were on Spike TV,
like in 2007.
Aaron,
2013.
It better not be NXT.
Right. He could show up at something Endeavor owns, though. Show up at UFC.
Someone did say UFC earlier.
Mr. Anderson sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, do you think Jey Uso will return at the Royal Rumble and cost Jimmy his chance at the main event of WrestleMania?
Something.
And we get Jey versus Jimmy at WrestleMania with Rikishi as the special referee. I think that, I mean, if they drag it out, that is something they could do where Jimmy's trying to win the Royal Rumble and Jey costs him. Again, there's a lot of ways they can go with it, but I hope that they have something interesting rather than Jey just comes back in a week or two.
Rikishi ain't doing any refereeing.
Do you know if Rikishi shows up in his old outfit, except for the leather bottoms he wore are referee striped, and that's all, I will be all for it because that would be awesome. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, but I would like to see Rikishi appear at some point to try and get the family back together. Like they got to do that at some point, right? Like it makes sense.
Do that though, haven't they involved someone's parents in the past? But I mean, not Big Show's dad. We know how that went, but
yeah, where are the elders? Like they should be out there trying to get the bloodline back on the same page, and we haven't seen them.
They were out there annoyed by right?
That. They were there. I think Alpha and Sika were there when Roman
beat Jey.
When Roman beat Jey back in 2020, and like pretty much made him the tribal chief with delay. And that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, Thunderdome. It's overdue. We got to get the elders involved.
I mean, Alpha and Sika are up there in age, so they can't do as much traveling as
they could be sitting in a room smoking cigars and talking about it though as the elders of the family. That would be cool. I would watch that.
Yeah.
Or do like a clip, like do a segment like at their
Godfather
house.
style.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's basically what it's like. But anyways, we're caught up with the Super Chats virtue. I've said my piece. Anything else you want to add?
No, it's just, again, with the bloodline to be continued. And like I said, Big G, you could be, it could be overplayed to you, whatever. But you definitely are in the minority with that. And most people love this because the numbers.
I'm not saying I hate it.
I'm just pointing that out. I mean, you're allowed to have that
with Jeff Jarrett, and he would say the bloodline is.
You are allowed to have that opinion. Times. You're allowed, all of you that love the Adam Cole MJF thing, you're allowed to have that opinion. I'm in the minority of not liking that one. See? All right, let's go around and do our plugs. Let's get out of here. This guy experience. I know you're sitting there idle a lot, but you did get to say your take on all these topics. Go ahead and say your plugs or whatever you'd like in closing.
Yep, I have a plug. My fiance does some crocheting business. She creates these like anime characters, blankets, pillows. I'm trying to make sure she sent it to me. Where is it at? Dang it, she doesn't have Instagram or Facebook. Dang. She has an SD shop. Dang Dang it, she did not send me that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry about that.
I'll tell you what.
Super chat it in the future,
Yeah.
and we'll get it. We'll make sure
Or we'll
talk
come
about
back to it before we wrap this up because we got more people here that can give their plugs, and we come back to you if you get it.
All right,
Okay.
Big G.
Aaron, if you want to throw up that lovely graph. All right, there you go.
You should have
Follow me at TikTok at BigBallerG1988, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, NoDQ_BigBallerG, and on Threads on Insta at NoDQ_BigBallerG1988.
There you go. Big Pittsburgh Steelers fan over there with his little Steelers logo. All right, Robbie, go ahead.
I'm on Threads with about 18 other people. I know. I'm on social media. I actually had to make another Facebook as well because everyone complained that I was missing messages, mainly Aaron. So, hey, I remember that. But yeah, so just follow me on Threads at @TheRobbieVice, and you can join me and the dozens of others that are enjoying Threads. And that's my plug.
Is that the chat? Is that the discussion at the bottom of the columns? What is Threads?
Threads is like Twitter, just without Christo-fascists and Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely staying on X.com because that's where the majority of people are. Okay.
That's fair, yeah.
I might come over, the other one too.
There's no one there, but it's fun.
Well, we'll build it.
It's like having your own party.
All right. Well, thank you for being on, gentlemen. This guy, back to you, or are you still good?
Yeah, he's got the plug. I'll throw up the super chat. Oh,
nobody?
Yep. So Heather's Crochet Corner. Like I said, next time I'm on, which hopefully I'll be on the panel for the 50th or 250, and I'll show some of her material on there. But the last thing I'm going to say, we have the last inning, I hope, for the Bloodline. And like someone said earlier in the chat, they better have something like in store for us for storyline wise, because once the Bloodline thing ends, it's over. They don't have anything. They need to have something to keep their momentum going, because you're going to fall flat on your face. You build everybody up all these years, the last 3 years, and then if you have nothing to follow up with it, you're kind of screwed. So I just hope they have some stuff in store. You will be more or less buried Austin Theory, who could have been a contender, but you have some up and coming people that can keep WWE going, the momentum going with some long storyline telling. So just we'll see in the next 5-6 months from now.
And there's more than one inning left. I'm sorry to tell you, because according to Paul Heyman, they're like in the 4th inning right now. So
hey, I gotta call out TJS because he's watching South Park right now instead of being in the chat room for the NoDQ.
He looks like a South Park character.
He did not like the Pip episode, nor did I. But besides that, you need to be here and not watching South Park. So anyways, shame, TJS. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, would you rather watch a Ryback? Would you watch a Ryback versus Alberto Del Rio match?
Why?
I think that already happened in WWE.
Yeah, I mean.
Also, who the hell is even going to host that match? I don't think anyone's touching Del Rio ever again. I mean, so the only maybe Billy Corgan will do it, but that's it.
Loser has to throw the other in a pool of sharks.
Triple A might, but I heard he no-showed some Impact and Triple A stuff back when he was getting bookings, but I don't know.
That's right. Yeah. How about no matter who wins, they both jump into a shark-infested tank.
Yeah, there you go.
The show who's manlier.
Yeah, show's manlier. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, this guy and Robbie, how would you bring back Bray Wyatt? Well, that's a loaded question. Robbie, you got any ideas?
Yeah, man, I'd bring him back as Bray Wyatt. I would bring him back. I would drop all the supernatural stuff. You know, he could still have the theatrical stuff with it. We see it with Gunther and Imperium. We see it with the Bloodline. He can be creative, but like, you know, if you're going to bring Bo back, let him be Bo. The Uncle Howdy thing was okay in theory. It just didn't work out. I appreciate all the stuff he was trying to do. It just didn't work out. Bring him back as Bray. Let him just be himself. Let him connect with the crowd. Let him do what he does. Let him have creative storylines. You know, he can still do whatever, but we don't need these like
wrestle matches.
Wrestle some matches, maybe like not have like, because see, when I think of like Bray Wyatt, like there's some things that stick out, but like I think of things like that little kid and the whole world in his hands thing and that cage match against Cena. And then they had all the spiders on the thing with Randy Orton. Like there's just a lot of dumb things I remember from Bray Wyatt that just overshadow the several amazing things, like being burned alive as the Fiend at Wrestle, or that was stupid. I just didn't like that at all. So like for every home run Bray Wyatt has hit, he's struck out 5 times. So I think he's a creative genius. I think he needs a better filter on him to try to appeal to a mass audience. But I tried for a long time, but I don't think the supernatural stuff works anymore. I fought that opinion for a long time. I just don't see it, and he needs to just come back and be himself.
I don't know. That's going to be really hard. I mean, if he's facing like some health issues again at this point in time, if he could just come back as not a commentator, but oh god, I hate this guest show host thing like Miss TV because they've done it to death. But if he wants to do that and just have it like obviously the shirt I'm wearing, Firefly Funhouse, have guests come in there and promote their stuff. That's the best way because I think like the last few years he's been in and out of WWE, not just getting fired by Vince, but he also keep having these health scares, mental issues, physical issues. So I don't know. Like again, I'll just say the Firefly Funhouse. It doesn't have to be creepy. Halloween is coming up. That could be that one-off episode, but for the most part, just be that will be your show. Not I mean, I love Bailey, but the ding dong hello thing, stop it. Miz, I love Miz too. Stop it. Just let it.
They have
be
too many
Firefly
shows.
Funhouse. Yes,
Hyper Spit was great.
The new one with the guy, was he Australian or something like that?
Great.
What's that guy? Yes, just let Wyatt have his own talk show. That's it. No more. Until he retires, then you can.
I think he could wrestle though, man. Like I think you could put him out there, even give him the Rotunda name, whatever. Like I think he could cut the same style and connective promos that Cody Rhodes does. I think he has all of the believability. I think he can come off as very sincere. He has so much charisma and talent that I don't think there's anything Cody could do in a promo that Bray Wyatt could not. And I think he has the family history. He has the passion for it. He has the creativity for it. He just needs something believable and something the fans can believe in. I think he just needs to be a baby face. He needs to be like an everyman, like more of a Dusty Rhodes and less of an Undertaker or something like that. I think then he could see great success, and I think the fans would buy into it.
Yeah, I want to see that, but I'll speak for Big G. Just retire. Go make those movies, even if they're straight to Netflix, straight to DVD. There's a horror fan group of people out there that will watch those.
Sure.
And you'll probably be able to do 5, 6, 7 movies.
Yeah.
Go do it.
I think he should wrestle. If he's coming back, he needs to get in the ring and start having some matches. And I kind of like Dylan's idea. Maybe he comes back with Bo Dallas as a team, like a new Bludgeon Brothers type of deal, and let them go for the tag. Like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn need like a strong heel tag team to go for the titles. And I think that could be the team, Bray Wyatt.
It can't be the Usos again.
Right. So there you go. There's an idea. Michael sent in a $2 super chat, asks if I'm liking Chelsea searching for a partner. Sure. I like it better than just having the titles vacant again. I think it could be Nia Jax. Would not shock me if she ends up being that partner to fill in for Sonya Deville. We'll see.
I think it's going to be
Jericho.
Who?
Hulk Hogan.
Jericho.
Oh God. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, okay, enough of this book of I'm hating that Powerhouse Hobbs book of Hobbs crap. Psycho Jet Black says, what would you put in the book of Vice?
Something worth a $2 opinion.
Wow. I would put in the book of Rift no more talk of books of anybody. Like just burn them all.
It would just be a book of all of the wrestlers that I think don't do well, and it would have pictures of like Marco Stunt and Matt Riddle and Ricochet.
Oh man, poor Riddle. He's like Bart Gunn now. He's
still better than Ricochet. I will still say that he's still better in almost every capacity than Ricochet. I care more about him than I do Ricochet.
Ouch, man.
But you care more about who?
Matt Riddle than Ricochet, hands down.
Because Matt Riddle, because caring about Matt Riddle failing and not doing good to prove me wrong, I totally get that. But Ricochet, you're like, nobody's invested in Ricochet other than his wife or his fiance.
maybe, but like I look at it like Matt Riddle, and I look at him, it elicits an emotion from me. It's a negative emotion.
Is
It's
Psycho
annoying.
Jet Black actually your burner account?
It might be,
It
yeah.
might be.
But when I see Ricochet, I just don't care. I don't care. He comes out, he's gonna jump around and do some gymnastics, and that's fine if you're into it. I know there's a lot of people that like him. I just don't think he should ever hold a title until he can learn how to.
What about Ricochet versus Adam Cole for the world title?
It'd be a good match, but I still wouldn't really care because I don't care about Ricochet. I don't know how they can undo years. Like, they've done worse to Ricochet than they did to EC3. They have this guy just can't catch a break. We are like months away from him just jobbing out to Rhea Ripley, and you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen, man. They're gonna do like what they did to Mark Marrow. He's gonna get power bombed by like Chelsea or Rhea Ripley or something like that, and that's gonna be the end of him.
You might be right, unfortunately for him.
And he's a great guy. He has a lot of talent. It's just I don't care about him. I mean,
fair enough. Miguel sent in $2. Says the Fiend should attack heels and faces. So he should just do whatever the hell he wants, basically.
like chaos. Like
just pure.
By the way,
chaos.
whoever said it earlier, Baldur's Gate 3 is incredible. I have like 80 hours into it already, which is sad, but I do.
Oh, nice. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says the Book of G would have the Steelers and Britt Baker.
It had big old double J.
Jeff Jarrett.
JARR.
Hell no.
Oh, come on.
GEO double F.
Ain't he great?
No.
BA double. Wait. GEO double F. BA double LER. Oh wait, never mind.
All right, and the last one here from Psycho Jet Black. I do not care about this, so somebody can answer it if they want. Which
It's
team's
too
gonna be in
early
the
to
Super
tell.
Bowl?
The team that wins the
football in 5
NFC
years.
versus the team that wins the AFC. Those will be the teams that are in the.
There you
All right,
go.
guys,
Is the Tennessee Titans a football team?
Yes.
Okay, I'll pick them just so
I picked
Jeff
the
Jarrett can
Houston
maybe
Oilers.
be there. All right, I'm done. All right, we're done, Virtue. Let's go ahead and wrap this
All
up.
right, follow me if you dare on x.com, formerly known as Twitter, at NoDQ_Virtue. Go over to NoDQ.com/merch and check out all the merchandise over there. That's it for Robbie Vice.
What is that graphic?
Which one?
Cody lost WrestleMania. Like, I don't remember that. I watched all of these. I don't remember.
Meacham made that for me like the night
That's-
after WrestleMania. Yeah. So there you have it. There you go.
That's
Enjoy
great.
it,
And it's
Robbie.
always a great day when I get yelled at online by Virtue. So today was a fun show.
If you're not being over on Twitter anymore, I had to get my
I
shots. All right. For Robbie, for Big G, for This Guy Experience, Aaron Rift, and the whole NoDQ crew, you know who you are. I'm Virtue. Good night, everybody. We'll see you for number 250 next week.